affordability goes down.
So let's walk through this one. 277 again, right? What's 5% down? Was 13.8, right? 850.
$263,150.
263,150, right? And then 25% of that was what?
65,788.
So I got 787.50.
Well, I rounded up.
You rounded it up. So we did 788, gives us the same, relatively the same number. Okay? So then if you took the 76, 824, and divided by 65, 788, what do you get?
1.165, something. It's 1.17 really.
I got 116 when I did it this morning. Yeah. So if you round it up, you're probably between 116 and 117, is that right?
Yeah.
What does that tell you? John, what does that tell you?
It's affordable without that, it's affordable.
Right. What would be the conversation that you would have with your listings or with your sellers or with your buyers? So let's start with listings. John, what would you say to your sellers if you saw an affordability index of 116?
I would say I have pretty good news that their house is gonna be affordable to a typical buyer in our market.
Okay.
We do have a great statistic thing and trend that we can actually pull for the township or school district or
Awesome.
neighborhood or whatever, and give, an inventory accumulation as well, so this could go along with that.
So would that be if it's a buyer's market or a seller's market?
Yeah, and you could see how many are selling per month and how many are currently on the market and
Right.
what the asking price is, compared to the sold prices,
Okay.
and something,
Right.
days on market.
Okay. Yeah.
I would probably say something like there's a more abundant group of people that would qualify as a 5%, and you're still affordable.
Still affordable?
Probably say it's more of a buyer's market, so it's more competitive with your pricing.
Okay. So all things that you could say. What else? If they got a offer, if say our home is listed at 277 and they got an offer at 260, then what did you say? Would you really say be glad you got an offer?
We might be thinking it.
I just walked in, so.
What would you say? Somebody offered you 260 on a 277 house. You know the affordability index. You know what the market is. What would you say? Counter. Would you just accept the offer? Come on, guys. Would you just accept the offer? No.
Never.
You could go back to your sellers and say, hey, your house has only been on the market for 2 days. We may need to pump the brakes a little bit, right? You could say that confidently if you knew this number. Agreed? Now, if the house has been on the market for 90 days, have a different conversation. But if the house has been on the market for a week and they're offering you 260 on a 277, you've got data to back you up. Or you could just take the offer and shortchange your client $17,000, whatever you want to do. Who has questions on this?
I do, I'm confused. What's the affordability index? What is that number?
The affordability index is a number that tells you how affordable homes are in your area. So if you go back, the definition of the affordability index is in there. What you want is an affordability index of right around 100. That tells you that the person who has the median priced home that somebody, the median priced home, the person who makes the median income can afford to buy that home. Does that make sense? So if you make we'll use averages. If you use the average person who makes the average amount of money in your area, they can afford to buy the average price home.
And that would be 100.
That's 100.
So if they go above that number,
It's more affordable.
more affordable. If they go lower than 100, it's not so
You
affordable.
got it.
Okay.
A median is a much better number. too,
Median
than
is a
average.
much better number than average. Right, because you have huge swings on either side, right? John?
Is there a rationale of why the required income is 25%?
Most mortgage people most mortgage want you to have 25% of your income go to your mortgage payment.
Even though the ratios are higher many times.
Right. It's just, we looked at US in general and, right? Probably concerned. Yeah. I would hope that most people are doing that, though.
Right.
You know, and not going too far above that number, because that gets a little scary.
That's it.
Depends on the situation.
5% down, that's it. But 20% down is 139.
What are some ahas about this? Sorry,
I
did you?
was gonna say, sometimes it's recommended, and with these interest rates, they buy the maximum because they have income thing happening in the near future and stuff like that, you know.
This one is with 5% down. This one is with 20%.
Like, I'm talking about a move-up buyer and things like that.
Right,
There's-
if they're gonna make
there's different
money on
situations.
There's situations that just makes me nervous.
That's because you're an MC.
Higher.
Because I'm a business owner too, I own 2 market centers, don't forget that. What are some of the ahas from that? How are you gonna use this in your business?
I don't think I would ever use this.
You would never use it?
I don't think-
Really?
I'm not that analytical in my, I mean, if I had a client that was.
You're just
that
gonna go and like, I feel like this is a good price.
No, I use data based on the value of houses in the neighborhood. You got 260 on a 277 house, when other houses in the neighborhood are selling for 275, 276, 278, I think we can counter them.
Right,
But that doesn't, I don't think that, for me, it doesn't come into play.
just another tool for your toolbox.
Mhm.
So, in this market,
That is an MCA.
no, it's not. I promise you. I don't have the profile of an MCA, not even
Really?
close, no.
Okay.
So, what are buyers and sellers thinking in your market right now?
When the buyers are thinking about how it's the cheapest we can get the house, and the buyers and sellers are thinking the most I can get for my house. That's what
Buyers
they're
like
thinking.
never changes.
Yeah.
Sellers like.
So in general, if you looked at the population of the US as a whole, what would you think that the media is saying about home prices in the housing market right now?
Going off.
Going up? So, in this example, it says, on page 15, that the sellers believe that the property is worth more than comparable, which sometimes you have those sellers who think that because they painted green instead of yellow, that their house is worth more money. They can't sell their home for what they need to. This might actually be some people's perception still, based on when they bought their house and what they bought it for. They might think that they can't sell it for what if they bought their home in 2006 or 2007, they may still have some of this left over. And they might be embarrassed to tell you, right? Their home can be sold as is without bringing it up to acceptable standards. Do you guys ever deal with that?
Every day.
Every day. Lots of marketing and open houses will sell their home. I want you to have an open house every single Sunday. That's what's gonna sell your house. If they can no longer afford their payment, they will lose their house to foreclosure. Maybe not so much anymore, but definitely when this course was written. Buyers believe that the property values may continue to go down, not so much anymore. In a shifted market, they may. Just something to think about. They have plenty of time to look and buy. Do some of your buyers still think that? You're saying no, there's like heads nodding and heads shaking. Like there's a mixed crowd in here right now.
Some buyers have to find something because they have pressures on them from, if they sold their home and they have to move. And then there's other buyers that renting and don't care.
Well, I also think that it depends on how urgent their need is, right? So some are just looking, like they're first time home buyers, they're dabbling in maybe buying a house, it's on their plan for this year, but they're renting and they've got a couple of months left on their lease. They're not very like urgent, but they're starting to dabble. If they find the right one, they'll pull the trigger. But then you also have the buyers that they've sold their home, they're moving, they've got a new job, right? They need to buy right away. So
Having a baby.
having a baby. There's also maybe some belief left over, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, but there might be some belief left over that they still have time to think about it, that the market that homes aren't going as quickly as they are. And making sure that like they understand like our average days on market is this, when the home is priced competitively, they're going really quickly. And you can show them evidence of that. That may create a sense of urgency for them. They can wait to buy when more houses will be on the market. They may not be able to get a loan. It's a great time to invest in real estate. I think it's always a great time to invest in real estate, personally. All right. So let's move into what we call the opportunity mindset. We're going to look at the 6 truths that Gary Keller talks to us about. There's a temporary shift in the real estate market right after 9/11. And when that happened, Gary penned a paper called When Market Shift, 6 Truths to Consider. The points are still really valid today, so we're going to kind of take a look at them one at a time. Let me check time. We'll go through a couple of these before lunch. Okay. It's a way of life, right? So markets shift. History teaches us that markets are always in transition. They cycle up or down. Sometimes the cycle can take a long time. We've been going through an upward cycle for how many years? An upward cycle. How long have homes been coming up? 2 years? A little bit more. Probably since 2011, 2012, I think is when we started seeing slight gains, right? So that would put us in a shift for how many years? 4 or 5, right? We're 2016, if it started in 11, we're right at 5 years. How long does a typical real estate cycle last?
7.
What does that mean for you?
Reaching our peak.
All right, guys, seriously, what does that mean for you? You're headed for a shift, and what does that mean for you personally? Should you be going out and buying a brand new car right now and increasing your debt every single month? Should you be maxing out your credit cards? You're going to have a whole bunch of money coming your way over the next few years. Be planning ahead, right? It's time to think about what can you be doing right now with the income that you're going to be having come in, and how you can use that to propel you when the market dips. Because if we just said that we were in 5 years of the market increasing, and the cycle lasts 7, we're going to be at the top soon. And then the market's going to tighten up again, and it's going to tighten up quick. And you're not going to have enough time to repair it. And I opened up today by telling you that I had people losing homes and people losing cars and people getting divorced and having to make their kids go out of different schools. So I'm really passionate about this. And I know that it's fun and we can make jokes, but it's time for you guys to really understand this material. And I might be talking to everybody who already knows it, but I don't think that that's why Debbie and Becca asked me to come here today. I think that they want me to tell you that it's time to get ready and it's time to prepare. Market shifts. It's a way of life. It's a myth to believe that market is the sole determiner of your success and profitability. The market is the market. Agents succeed in all markets. Buyer, seller, or neutral, agents are going to succeed. People will buy homes and sell homes in all markets. Only the number of units and sales volume change. So it's up to you right now to start making doing the things that you need to do in order to capture your unfair share of the market. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to scare you, I'm not trying to be too hard on you. I'm just trying to make you guys aware of what's going to happen, and I'm really passionate about it. And you guys probably just heard that passion come out in my voice. My son called that my teacher voice, right? And I don't mean to like make a big deal about this. I'm not trying to scare you guys. It's just I really want you to pay attention to what's going on right now. You're going to be making a lot of money over the next 2 years. You should be taking a lot of that and putting it aside. You shouldn't be going out and buying a new car. You shouldn't be getting involved in investing money in stuff that's not going to give you a positive return. And I just want to make sure that when you walk away today, you have that concreted in your brains. Make sense? Are we all still friends? Up markets, proactive and reactive lead generation. So talk to me about what is an example of proactive lead generation. Yeah.
Calling your database or your sale by others, installing listings.
Right, making calls, making activities. How many of you have a database right now? How many of you call it every single day? You have 2 or 3 hours of lead generation time block right now that you're calling your database every single day. Whoa. So how are you getting your leads?
Well, I think what happens with a lot of people is it is a busy time. You know, and if you get caught up with running buyers and running your transactions, lead generation tends to slip off where it shouldn't, but it does in reality.
You mentioned every single day too, it's not every single day, but most of us are calling our databases.
5 days a week.
Every single day.
How many are you doing 5 days a week? 4 days a week. 3 days a week. 2 days a week. 1 day per week. So how are you getting your leads?
Networking.
Networking. That could be a sign of proactive lead generation if it's part of your plan, right?
Open houses, door knocking,
Open houses, door knocking.
online.
So how are you following up with them once you get leads? You look like my friend Carrie. You're so similar. You're like, Carrie! I want to call you that, so if I do, I'm sorry.
Phone calls, emails.
So then are they going into your database and then are they going on a drip campaign?
Yes.
How many of you have drip campaigns currently set up for that database if you have? Okay. So let's understand something about proactive lead generation and reactive lead generation. So proactive is just what you said, it's the activities, right? It's picking up the phone, it's making those dials, it's attending Bold, because you guys are learning all kinds of stuff in there and how to generate leads, right? About mindset. What are some reactive types of lead generation?
Return from.
Reactive types.
Waiting for like maybe.
Floor time?
To refer you.
Floor time, referrals. Referrals from agents and referrals from past clients, right?
Open houses.
I would say that depending on what you're doing before the open house. So if you're using open houses to blast to your database and you're calling people and you're door knocking around, I would say that that's proactive. But if you're just putting a sign up in a yard and hoping that people come, I would say that that's reactive.
Right.
So that could go either way, it just depends on what you're doing with it. What other types of reactive lead generation? How about emailing?
It's a waste of time.
Well, you could say that a database is, you know, is not proactive. I mean, drip campaign is not, you know, unless you're talking to them, you're not really.
Right, that's what I was getting to. Because I think that if you just have people on drip campaigns and you just have emails going out, how many of you wake up every single morning and when you check your phone, there's at least 10 or 15 emails from like all the different subscribers that send you stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then that's the first thing that you do is you go through and delete all of them. You're deleted. Right? So if that's your sole source, you may get, I think that we're gonna turn, like, so we knew that like for whatever 100 like mail marketing pieces went out, you would expect a 2% conversion rate. I would think that email is probably lower than that. I don't know the statistics on that, but I would say that for every 100 people that you send an email to, you should expect like 0.5 of a closing.
10, 12.
Or less, right? And it depends on what you do once they respond. So if that's, but right now it might be working better. People might be forwarding, housing market's great, right? But when the market shifts, that is gonna not be a really proactive source of getting leads.
And what about the rate of return on social media? That's probably even less.
So again, social media is, I read this article a couple of weeks ago and it was talking about social media and it basically said that posting, if you only post work stuff on social media, that's considered antisocial. And I was just like, yep. Cause I scroll through that stuff too. If they're never posting anything else, right? Post something personal, post something about your kids, post something about something else that's going on in your life, but if it's always just for work.
But even so, I mean, I
I kind
find
of
that
follow those
I
people.
miss half the posts because there's so many of them.
Right.
I'm not on all day long, you know,
Right.
so
And
most
all-
people
yeah.
don't even see it.
Well, on social media, you post things that'll perk people's interest that they will respond to. And it may be something like cooking. It might be something like the book that you just read.
Right, and if you're doing that and you're engaging them in conversation, and then they know that you're in real estate, that's one way. That's almost like, it's social networking, right? That's actually having a conversation with somebody. That's going to a board networking event and having a conversation with your local realtors, or having an open house, or a home buying seminar, right? You're engaging people in conversation. But if you're just posting something out there and thinking that that's gonna be how you generate leads, that's probably, you might, 1 or 2 a year, maybe, if you're consistent.
Well, if somebody comments on one of your posts, you better comment back to them.
Right.
You know, you
Get
better,
back to them
you
real
better
quick.
acknowledge that,
Right,
that they raised their hand.
right. Make sense? So, when the market is good, both types of lead generation work. When the market gets tight, only proactive lead generation is gonna work. Only getting out there, making the calls, making sure that people know that you're in real estate, reminding them consistently. That's the type of lead generation that if you're not doing it right now, it's not too late. It's time to start considering just one way that you can bring in proactive lead generation, right? What's one thing that you can do? 98% of the class said that they have a database. But there was only 2 or 3 of you that are calling it 5 days a week. And when you look at The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, how many of you have read that book? What does Gary say about lead generation in The Millionaire Real Estate Agent?
Thursday, times a week.
That's the model, right? That's the system. Everything else that you're doing you need to figure out a way to leverage that stuff off, right? So if handling transactions is stifling your time that you can spend on lead generation, you may want to consider having a transaction coordinator handle some of that stuff for you. Because if you did your time per hour, I would guarantee you that your time per hour is $75 to $100 per hour. And if you're doing $15 per hour work, is that a good use of your time? It's not. And you're the person who's going to be generating the income to your business. How many of you have a sales team? Okay. So people with sales teams who have a full-time admin understand this concept, right? You guys get that at such a high level because you can turn those things over to your admin, which means that loosens you up to go out and do what you do best, which is hunt. Hunt for the new buyers, hunt for sellers, get the next deal going. And then everything else you can, you could hire a really talented person to handle for you, which then means that you can do what? Do more. And then they get more to handle. And then before you know it, you have to do what?
Hire another.
And who's the second hire of the MREA model?
Another assistant.
Another admin. So that's how that all works. And the way that that's gonna work is proactive lead generation, right? So, we have lunch. Did you wanna take a couple of minutes or do you want people to get food? Okay, let's get food. And then we're gonna have a working lunch, so.